And if him and I had been talking, he had a sinus infection. And then his sinus infection wouldn't go away. And we talked about it. I get sinus infections all the time. So I said, here's what I do. We talked about a bunch of stuff. And turns out his sinus infection turned into, it moved from his sinus cavity to his brain. And so it turned into a bacterial infection in his brain. He's had several brain surgeries. And he had been in intensive care, and he's recovering. He's at home, and today was going to be his first day. He messaged me and said, "Hey, I miss you guys. I'd love to come back and say hey." So we were trying to make it easy. So Joel's standing up front in the loading zone to try to guide his daughter to do it. So when Rod gets here, we'll probably pause and give him a few minutes. I don't know if he wants to talk or he just wants to hang out in the back and hide. So. Yeah. End up in the hospital for Joel too, I know. So that's gonna happen. Don't know how it's gonna go. Might disrupt some things. We had one presenter drop out, and we have a virtual presenter using Mingle today. So we have a little space, both for Rob, but also for other folks. If you got stuff coming up and you want to talk about it, that's great. I know things come up last minute, so sometimes people cancel and it happens, and so then we gotta make it work, and it gives more space for us. So, any first timers to OneMC? I see lots of familiar faces. Oh, welcome. How are you? Good. What brings you to 1 million cups? What brings you to 1 million cups? Awesome. And who's your uncle? Did you say your uncle?
Doug Jessup.
Oh, good old Doug. I saw Doug. Is Doug
He's
here?
back there somewhere.
Okay, hiding in the back. Well, thank you, Doug. So, I'll come back to the coffee sponsor, but one of our rules that we try to do, so our community guidelines is, the bottom one there, invite, bring a friend, so you count. So thank you, Doug, for, yeah. So if you don't know, if it's your first time, 1 Million Cups is a Kauffman Foundation inspired program. They give us banners and mugs, but generally what it is a group of folks getting together like this over coffee. The original concept, so we helped pilot this 10 years ago, and the original idea was along the lines of if entrepreneurs shared 1 million cups of coffee, we'd change the world, because a lot of times things happen over coffee and conversations. And so that's where the brand came from. And the idea is, as I said, instead of trying to teach people, why don't we just gather people? So that's where it all kind of started. There's like 130 of these, some odd, across the nation. So if you're somewhere on a Wednesday at 9 a.m., you should be able to either pop into a virtual one, which you can do on a Mingle with us, or you can show up in person if they have them. I think post-COVID, most of them are back to in-person, but there's still some hybrid or virtual only. So I don't know what creates that, but if you want to check out like the East Coast or the West Coast on a Wednesday, and this time doesn't work, you might be able to pop into one of those and meet some other folks. Our sponsor for coffee this month, I don't see Mo or anybody from V School, but our friends at V School, they do a ton of cool stuff on coding. Mo and I have been partners, and when I opened the first co-working space here in Salt Lake, him and I had worked together, and he was a co-working member, and they were building their coding community right out of our space. So we were hosting 1 Million Cups and doing coding and all sorts of stuff. So last year we did a group called You Belong in Tech, and we gave away $20,000 to female students that were interested in getting more involved in tech and having a hard time. So we did educational events, and so I really love what Mo and V School are up to, because they're doing it for the right reasons. Their thing isn't graduate from school, it's get a job. So for them, they take this approach that we're going to teach you what you need so that you have the chance to get a job, and you're not done until you get there. So you're part of our community until you get to the place where you found the thing you're looking for and you're good at. So a little bit different than other coding schools. So always grateful when a friend is willing to help out and make it happen. How are you, man? It's good to see you. You just had to get a bunch of surgeries to get that rad helmet. Like, that's what I got to do. It's like get a sinus infection that goes sideways to get the cool stuff. How you feeling? Yeah? You want to talk? You want to say anything? You just want to hang out? I'll pass you the mic. You don't even have to stand, dude. You can just sit if you want. Either way, it's up to you. I tried to explain your experience, but I'm sure I couldn't even come close to any of that, so.
Well, just to let you know what happened, I had a sinus infection that just wouldn't go away, and went to the ER a few times, and they did a CT scan, and they found a bunch of abscesses in my brain. So, and I had started to kind of lose some cognitive function. My wife was, really noticing that. So, they scheduled kind of emergency surgery. They got this dent in my head because they had to remove access the abscesses in my brain, and that's why I wear the helmet, because I've got exposed, brain tissue there. But hopefully we'll get that put back together here in a few weeks. We're still on antibiotics. I do an IV 3 times a day to just kind of clean the system out. And they're going to stop the IV next week, and then I've got to go 2 weeks without any infection resurfacing, and then I'll put that plate back in. Now I'll have a normal looking head, I hope.
Let's look at that.
Anyway, I just want to thank you all for your support. This community means a lot to me. And a lot of you have reached out to me, and just that love energy is, it's really powerful. When I came out of the surgery, I had lost all the functions that I had learned when I was 2 years old. And if you think about it, your kids when they're 2 years old, they learn a lot of important things like how to eat, how to go to the bathroom, how to walk. And so I had to kind of relearn all those things. Not entirely. My vocabulary was still intact, but finding the words was really methodical, and I'm still in speech therapy to try to regain that function. So be patient with me, trying to get it together.